All right, are we live? Let's get some confirmation. We should be live. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Vays Talks Geopolitics. Today's topic is going to be crazy debate, the crazy debate that took place between Sleepy Joe and the convicted felon. So we're gonna have one hell of an election coming up. I am drinking a tequila. I poured myself an unreasonable amount for this stream. So this way I don't have to go back into the kitchen. Is the audio good? Is the video good? Are we live? Are you seeing the beautiful lake in the background? Um, I really should know which lake I'm in. Hold on. I am on, in case anyone is up for dealing with kidnapping, though you have no idea how many guns I have, which is good. I am on Gull Lake. Gull Lake. That's where I'm at right now. I am in Minnesota, where I am having an awesome time. Just hanging out. Let me see if I can play around with the zoom here. Let's zoom out. You can see the gorgeous lake behind me. The sun is gonna set in about an hour. I was debating whether I should do a sunset stream, but the trees are gonna be in the way anyway. And I can also zoom in on the lake. Right there behind me, you see the dog swimming in the lake. This is hanging out with my friend Doug Scribner, and his dog is around there somewhere as well. The little cute one you always see in my videos. All right, I see Bitcoin Motorist has joined the live stream. Lake Wallapopack. No, I am not on Lake Wallapopack. I have been on Lake Wallapopack. Lake Wallapopack is about an hour and a half away from my cabin. I am on the other side of the country. I'm in Minnesota right now. Oh yeah, no, this is beautiful. We were on the lake all day. There's the lake. There it is. If I take the focus off myself, and the sun is up there. Let me see. Sun somewhere. Oh, no, wait, I'm pointing it the wrong way. Sun's over there. Sun is that way. This way and down. That's where the sun is. Sun's behind those trees right there. That's where the sun is. All right, let's put the camera back on me. Cool. All right, here we go. Let's go take a look at the price of Bitcoin, and then we go from there. I'm going to zoom this out for when I come back. Just a beautiful, beautiful view in the background. We got a little fire going as the sun is setting. Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. I'm in North Minnesota. Super nice out here. And then we're going to talk about the election. Let's glance at the price of Bitcoin, and then we're going to talk about election. Oh my God, what a clown show that was. Oh, Trump had one job, to just let Joe speak and not get into a pissing contest over golf scores, and he failed. This is a beautiful candle right here. This is what I was talking about in the last couple of videos. We still have MACD problems. We still have RSI problems. We do not have a CMF problem, which is good. And I don't like these two, but that's okay. This is a great candle. It's a great candle. We have 15 minutes to rally into a green candle, and then the red star goes away. So we would have to rally above $63,200. And right now we're at 62,800. We need to rally $400 in the next 15 minutes. And then the red star candle goes away. I would love for the red star to go away. Either way, the tone-based volume is bullish. It's very bullish. It's the highest weekly volume in a while. That's a great sign. And but we're not going to get rid of this red candle, and the red star is going to stay. Unfortunately, and this is the shitty part, unfortunately, we still have a long way to go before we get to 66,000. And when we get to 66,000, it's going to be the mother of all rejections. This is massive resistance. At the moment, I have very little confidence Bitcoin is going to break 66,000 before scaring the shit out of everyone. I'm fully expecting Bitcoin to get rejected and actually create a scare, potentially even a crash to 55,000 from like here. And then reverse like that. This is very possible. Even if it doesn't go that low, even if it falls to only 62,000, where we are right now. Right now we are at 62.8. So even if it falls back down to 63 from say 67, that will still scare the shit out of everyone. Everyone will panic, and then Bitcoin can rally. I have very little confidence that we are going from here to here. Very, very little confidence. I'm going to expand this right there. Like that. I have very little confidence this resistance is breakable on current try. I'm going to put this arrow back where it was, right into that resistance. Oops. And then from there, we're going there. Okay. Hourly chart, I mean, looks nice, but the real resistance comes later. That's it. I got nothing else to say on the price of Bitcoin. Let's talk Joe Biden. Let me see if I solved the audio issues. Let's go to my Twitter account. Let's go to the home page. It doesn't take long to find ridiculousness. Let's just laugh at some of this together. What is going on here? Okay, hold on. There is a setting here somewhere. 1 second, guys. There is a thing here in Zoom that says play audio, turn on a share computer sound. Beautiful. Share computer sound. I guess stereo, mono. I have no idea. Let me know if you guys hear this. I'm just gonna play the first clip that's in my Twitter feed.
President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and under the issue of immigration and border security, President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and under the issue of immigration and border security, President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening there. Can you guys hear the audio? Okay, good. Sounds working. All right, let's see some more Biden stuff. I have no idea what that is. Okay, wait. I need to change this to who I'm following. When I let Twitter decide, it usually ends badly. Let's see. It all came up earlier, but I was on a different monitor. I was on a different. Let's get to some Biden stuff. It's everywhere, guys. It is absolutely everywhere. No idea what the hell that is. Let's get to some debate highlights. You know, when you need it live, it never shows up. Maybe I can grab it from my other browser and put it here. You know, when you need it, it never shows up. The memes are awesome. I just want to get to some highlights. Maybe I have to Google for it. Here we go, something. Let's see.
Americans who are likely to vote for. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
Yes, the more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. And so the fact that, could you ever think you heard any president say that I'm going to seek retribution?
His presidency is, without question, the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing.
I actually agree with that. Joe Biden is the worst president in the history of the United States. I could not agree more.
To debate.
70% of the American public say they don't want this contest. The only argument they have is be scared of that other guy. He's a felon. He's a bad guy. He's going to destroy the republic. They're running on fear.
All right. RFK disqualified himself with his view on Israel Gaza, so that doesn't matter. You know, when you need, what is this? Oh, Marie Le Pen. Yeah, she should win in France. That's what my Twitter feed looks like, guys. I may have to start Googling highlights of the debate. Maybe my moderators have some good links of highlights. Here's something.
Tomorrow's
real conversation that is happening among Democrats. Has he lost a step?
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday, and I want to thank you all. 150 million people have been killed since 2007. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. What's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. It could be nothing, actually. Why is the same picture of Hunter in his underwear keeps popping up on my feed? Man, you know, when you need good highlights, they never show up. But man, we were laughing during that debate. Okay, we're gonna Google this. Trump, Biden, debate, highlights. Let's go. Let's see what they got.
Like children.
President
Trump, we're going to
21
Let's
rounds.
not act like children.
With the COVID, excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
They destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up.
You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me.
The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. We have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter. I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, he gets paid by China.
All right, so Trump is wrong on that. The American reporter that is currently in prison in Russia is, in my opinion, legitimately being held on espionage charges. And if America wants to get him back, they can get him back. They would have to exchange Russian prisoners or Russian spies that America is holding in exchange for him, because he's not a Wall Street journalist. He was working for the United States government. I mean, this is obvious. I don't know why Trump doesn't know this is obvious. It's pretty damn obvious. Putin explained it fairly well in his debate with Tucker. So Trump making a spy a priority is completely misguided. There are 1,000 bigger problems than that. Okay, the journalist was in a part of Russia asking questions, military questions, in a part of Russia that he should not have been in. He was on the opposite side of the Ural Mountains. He was in towns where Russia makes its weapons, and he's out there, you know, trying to acquire military information. And it's, even if he was a reporter, the information he was gathering is illegal. So even if he wasn't a spy, Russia still, just like America, would have the authority to arrest him and throw him in prison for what he was doing. Even if he was acting on his own, which is very, very unlikely. But why this is a priority in a debate, I don't know.
He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. His military policies are insane. They're insane. These are wars that will never end with him. He will drive us into World War III, and we're closer to World War III than anybody can imagine. We are
That is correct.
very, very close to World War III. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships.
This was insane. I didn't know what I was watching. We were watching this in real time, and they start arguing over golf scores. This is insane.
To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards.
I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And
I
by the
don't
way,
know what that means.
I told you before, I'm happy to
Play
play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, you know, I mean,
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
I can't believe I'm listening to this. Let's see if there's any others.
Ben Kennedy leads us off tonight from Washington with the War of Words. Ben.
Well, Calvin, Nicole, you're right. It did get a bit heated at times. President Joe Biden called former President Donald Trump a liar, whiner, and convicted felon. Trump pushed back, saying Biden is bad at his job and is letting killers into the country by the border.
That is true.
In their first debate of 2024, President Joe Biden
I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected.
and former President Donald Trump
We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency.
on the CNN stage in Atlanta. It's there the two candidates faced off the earliest in a campaign season, first discussing a key issue, reproductive rights.
He's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period.
Biden's called Trump a
That's not
threat
true.
to democracy, holding his predecessor accountable for actions taken while in office.
The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm.
While Trump slammed Biden when it comes to immigration and the border crisis.
We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country.
With the idea they're emptying their prisons, we're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support what he said. Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
As both sides face questions on the wars in Gaza and in Ukraine.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire.
I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January.
That is hypothetical and also not true. There's no way he will be able to do that.
20th. I'll have that war settled.
Trump was then asked about his message to voters who believe he violated his oath of office on January 6th.
I said peacefully and patriotically.
As he also addressed recent court cases.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one.
And then responded to Biden calling him a convicted felon in his criminal hush money trial.
But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie.
And again, this is just the first debate. Both Biden and Trump are set to be back on stage in September on ABC News. Reporting live in Washington, D.C., Ben Kennedy, Local 10 News.
Right, where is the one where Biden just speaks incoherently? Biden incoherent? How do you spell that? In debate. I have no idea how to spell that word. I'm sure that someone has highlights of this. Biden stumbles, yeah. How long are these videos? I don't have, why aren't there timestamps?
President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump back on the campaign trail this morning after last night's debate.
The debate style is getting more attention than the issues. KTLA's Eric Spillman live in the newsroom breaking it down for us. Eric, good morning.
Morning, Megan. Morning. Thought. Here's just one example.
And please welcome the 45th.
Child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President.
The two candidates disagreed on just about all the major issues: inflation, climate change, foreign affairs, immigration, and especially abortion. Trump made the false claim that Democrats favor killing babies after birth.
And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the government.
That is actually true. There's at least one state, and I remember seeing this, that approved the ability to abort a baby after birth. I forget which state it was. That's not a lie. I mean, he might have embellished that it's most Democrats that want this, but no, but there are some states that allow you to abort a baby after the baby is born. I mean, that's not incorrect what Trump said.
Former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say.
And by the way, these states are still allowed to do that. All Roe v. Wade did was give the power back to the states to abort a baby at any stage. I mean, a state can go and make a law to abort a baby at 8 years old. Well, like it's now up to the state to decide at what point is the baby allowed to be aborted by the mother. And so that's what the reversal of Roe v. Wade did. That's it. It was like the state can now decide. And I actually agree with that decision, that the state should decide. And if you don't like the state you're living in, move. No one is stopping you. Maybe the economy is stopping you, which is why you shouldn't be voting for Democrats. But legally, no one is stopping you from moving to a different state.
They ripped the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and killed the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
You're lying. That is simply not true. The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period.
On the subject of the January.
Oh, no, that's completely false, what Joe Biden just said. The Democrats are for late-term abortion. They favor a late-term abortion. Remember, it was the big Democrat push to make abortion very, very easy. Now, again, I'm being neutral here, and it should be up to the states. This should not be a federal issue. A state should decide. But yeah, of course, Democrats want max abortion. This is why all of these abortion clinics are mostly in, poor neighborhoods, because the Democrats don't actually want them having more kids. Surprisingly, they want the voters, but they'd rather get those voters from illegal immigrants. And by the way, they're going to make all those illegal immigrants legal U.S. citizens by putting them all into the military or in other law enforcement, positions. But that's a discussion for another day. Yeah, of course the Democrats are in favor of abortion at any stage. They couldn't care less. I mean, remember, this is the party that thinks the world is going to die of overpopulation. You can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. You can't say that the world is overpopulated and at the same time state that you're not for the late-term abortion. Of course you are. You can't have it both ways. It's one or the other.
6th attack on the Capitol, the president criticized Trump for encouraging the rioters that day and for wanting to pardon them. Trump lashed out at the January 6th committee that investigated him.
What he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill.
But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times.
Trump was asked 3 times if he would accept the results of the November election. He finally answered, only if it is fair and legal. But what the 2 candidates said about the issues was overshadowed by their presentation. Biden stumbled more than once.
The total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
The New York Times is reporting the top Democrats were shocked by Biden's performance and that one group of Democratic lawmakers who watched the debate together called it a disaster and
yeah, no shit.
Privately discussed whether it's too late to persuade the president not to run.
You know, here's another stupidity, right? You're watching this debate, you are seeing that the president doesn't know what day it is, and yet you want to persuade him not to run. This is insane. The Democrats thinking that they are going to persuade a person that isn't mentally there is basically telling me that they are not fully mentally there, okay? Biden should have never been in this debate. Biden should have never been running for re-election. The Democrats have a problem is that they don't have anyone that's normal. That's their problem. I will stick to what I said a year ago. Joe Biden will step down sometime next month. He will step down, maybe early August or probably in July. Sometime in July to early August, Joe Biden will step down. Kamala will become president for 3 months. God help us all not to die. And then Kamala will not run for election, and she will be replaced by Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom will stand for president. I can't fix the audio. This is the audio you guys are going to get. There is no fixing audio. Guys, I'm actually really close to never streaming again because I can't fix the audio. So if I can't fix the audio, then there's no reason for me to stream. I don't have a tech person. Unless someone wants to travel at their own expense everywhere I go and be a sound guy, it's either this is the sound or I'm going to wait till I have about 3 viewers and then I don't have to stream anymore. This is it. Like, complaining about audio is only going to lead to me streaming less often. So anyway, Biden will be stepping down. I am very, very confident in my view that Biden is going to step down. And I still think Gavin Newsom will be the guy running for president of the United States. And I still think that it's very, very likely Trump will not be on the ballot. I see all kinds of shenanigans coming. I have a very, very pessimistic view of this election coming up. The current people in charge of the United States, they will do anything. They will destroy the entire planet before Trump gets elected. People grossly underestimate how badly some of the people currently at the top of the administration, they honestly believe that a nuclear war with Russia is a better alternative to Trump getting elected. I shit you not. They will go to any extreme to prevent Trump from getting elected. And if it means a nuclear war where one of the nukes happens to magically hit a city where Trump happens to be campaigning, then that solves two of their problems. Okay, Trump being one of them. Okay, overpopulation being the other problem. Okay, I have a very pessimistic view of this election, which is why I'm going to be staying away from the United States as much as I can when it comes to October and November. I don't want to be anywhere near it. Okay. No, Big Mike's not going to run. That's not going to happen. Like the memes alone are going to be hilarious. Big Mike's not running, guys. Sorry to disappoint. Like people don't. I mean, look, it's possible. I could be wrong. I would like to be wrong, right? Trump might get elected. By the way, if Trump gets elected, he's going to be more pro-Israel than even Biden is. So you're still going to have a major problem on your hands in the Middle East. No, no, you don't need a false flag attack. The false flag attack is not necessary. All they have to, all the U.S. has to do is, bomb and kill some more kids on a Russian Crimea beach, and they'll get their wish of, missiles flying between the two superpowers. Well, a false flag is not needed at all here. So, yeah, Trump didn't start any wars. I mean, it's a start, but um, he's going to inherit three wars, and he's going to get stuck with all three. He's not going to be able to end any of them. And trust me, if the Democrats don't get their nukes flying on their watch to prevent Trump from winning, they would love nothing more than to have the nukes flying on Trump's watch and then blame Trump for the nuclear war. Well, look, Trump is very pro-Israel. Trump has always been pro-Israel. Trump has family members that are unreasonably involved in Israel. It is possible that Trump will get elected and then tell the Israel lobby, to go pound sand. But the probability of that is very low. Yeah, but Trump is inheriting the wars. They're not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I'm looking at your comments, guys. Looking at your comments. Well, hopefully Trump's not going to have any neocons this time in his cabinet. I mean, Trump hired the wrong people. All right, I'm going to get off screen share here. I'm just going to chill out by the lake. I'm going to finish this tequila. It's still going to be, the sun is closer to setting. That's good. That's good. Hey, motorist, do you want to jump on the stream? You guys could go through a live chat and ask me the questions. Ah. We don't even know who Trump's vice president is. I'm actually really curious. All right, motorist is going to jump on the chat. Next poker at the lodge. I don't know. I don't have plans for Texas. Guys, I don't want to be anywhere near the United States for the next 5 months. I'll be in the US for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm back to Latin America. Hey, Doug, want to say hi?
Yeah. There we
Nobody. Just me so far.
Oh, hey, nobody. How's it
Yeah.
going? I'm got you. Welcome to the Great White North. How's the shot there? Fire kind of petered out a little bit, but we had to.
Yeah, did you guys take down the fire?
Well, we just the wood was too wet.
Oh, really?
Lots of rain the last week. We thought we had a good dry chunk, but it was not the way.
You don't have any dry wood here?
There's
over there?
some. What? It'll be. Yeah, that's that tree that was down. We had a tree down in the front yard, so we had to chop it up, and it probably needs some.
What? Wood still burns. I
A
mean,
week.
I deal with that in Pennsylvania all the time.
It does, but I don't know, we just didn't have it hot enough or something like that. We're gonna go move the boat back under the.
Are you putting the boat back?
Yeah,
Oh, all right,
under
cool.
the.
Yeah, we can zoom in on this.
Is that ours?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, there. We're gonna put it back under
Yeah,
there.
boat there.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah. There's the boat right behind your head.
Yeah, we're on that boat all day.
It was a good time.
There's the boat.
Tomorrow I'll go kneeboarding, and then we're gonna put it. Here's my brother-in-law.
There's the boat.
Yeah, we'll put that back for the night, and then tomorrow we're gonna buzz around. I'll take you to the little town of Nisswa, Minnesota, which is a little tourist town, but it's awesome. It's where they have the turtle races. Turtle races. Wait, which camera are you using? That one? Yeah. Turtle races. Can you believe it? They race turtles. They're really cute.
Yeah, it was a good day today. We're on the water most of the day.
Did you tell people that this is a cabin I bought with Bitcoin?
I did not.
So, do you know the story?
No, I don't actually.
Okay. So 2015, my other sister decided to sell it to my current sister and I, Nancy and I, and they're buying half and I'm buying half. My half, I sent Bitcoin to Barry Silbert of Second Market, now of, what is it?
GBTC.
GBTC. Grayscale, yeah. So his company at the time, called Second Market, sent a check to the closing table.
Nice. So you sold a bunch of Bitcoin to buy this thing.
$525 per Bitcoin.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to tell you how much, but bought this place. But it's a family cabin, and it's great to have it still in the family. So it was worth it.
Okay, when Bitcoin is $1 million, it's going to get rebuilt into a nice lakeside mansion.
On a tub. Probably have all in-floor heating, 3 stories, two-sided fireplace. I like those things.
All right, wait, let's get
There we go. Oh yeah, this is the deck. My dad built we call it the
There he
cathedral.
is.
Oh yeah, there's Satoshi. Hey, buddy. There you go. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
My dad built this. Well, this is a funny cabin. You can't really see it from this angle, but inside is a single wide mobile home. And my dad added this.
You can tell that it's a mobile home inside.
Right. And there's a 3 window.
It's like 3 decks all around it.
Floor to ceiling windows here that my dad built. And we peaked it, roofed it, sided it, put a fireplace on it. Yeah, yeah. It's hey, Patrick.
Hey, motorist.
Hey.
Hey, what's going on, Doug and Tone?
Missed you at Porkfest.
I know, man. And Mandrick, after all those years of not going, finally went this year, the one year that I wasn't there. So, yeah. So hopefully you guys had fun over there. I don't know if you had a chance to run into Mandrick and Triple Huddle. I don't know if Surfer Jim was even there, but
I saw Mandrick. The first person he saw was me. And I had been there an hour. He had some baklava. I had his bacon baklava, which high in sugar, but it was so worth it.
Oh yeah.
Spotlight. Hold on. There used to be a.
And then also Paul Pui from Edge Wallet was there.
Oh really? I haven't seen Paul in years.
Yep. You know Danny Sessoms?
Oh yeah, I see him all the time. He comes to Porkfest all the time. Yeah.
And he started to sell coffee out of a trailer there, right where I used to sell my smoothies for 1 Bitcoin each. 2012. Those were good times. They had a poker tent too, and a nice poker table, like bigger than mine, Tone.
Really?
Yep. And the night we were there, they weren't playing, but it was, we saw it. It's nice.
Yeah, if
I'm
you're
gonna
at
go.
Porkfest, you should
All right,
probably.
you gonna go?
Yeah, I gotta help my brother-in-law with the
All right,
boat.
he's gotta go move the boat. All right, I gotta figure out how to put mine on spotlight. I guess I don't have to.
I just muted my
Do you need
mic.
my help? All right.
And,
All right,
Tone,
cool.
let me know if I have audio issues like I did last time.
Okay, no, you're okay right now. All right, so did you see any good questions in the live chat? Did you watch the debate, Patrick?
I think I watched like the first 2 or 3 minutes of it, and I was like, "Why am
That's
I
it?
watching this?" I'm like, I didn't want to waste my time watching it, so I think I just played online poker instead.
Oh, no, I had to watch it. I had to watch it. It was as bad of a disaster as I thought it was going to be. Let's just say the debate fully met my expectations.
Yeah, and of course, people are saying that Biden should be replaced, and if he's replaced, I hope it's not with Gavin Newsom. Although part of me thinks Gavin Newsom will get smoked by Trump. I mean,
But
if
I honestly, I think Gavin Newsom's going to run unopposed. That this has been my conspiracy theory. Gavin Newsom will run for president unopposed. I mean, he'll be opposed by like RFK and uh, I don't know who else. Nikki Haley, God knows who else, right? I think they will find a way to keep Trump off the ballot, and Biden steps down. Kamala's not going to run, and Gavin Newsom, in order to appease everyone, will pick a crazy Republican as his vice president, like like a Democrat Republican, like a Republican,
like
like
a
a
Lindsey
rhino. Yeah,
Lindsey Graham.
well,
Yeah.
like a Lindsey Graham or a Cotton or, you know, Ron Johnson. Like it doesn't matter, right? Anyone that's bought and paid for by, uh, I don't know, Pfizer, Raytheon, and the Israel lobby, right? Like he'll pick one that is fully bought and paid for that will not stray from the uniparty line.
And the reason why I'm looking down a lot is because I have the iPad in my hand, and I'm just kind of looking through to see if there's any
Yeah, yeah,
questions in the chat.
yeah.
So if I'm looking down, I'm just looking down at the iPad. Well, yeah. I don't see any real huge questions, but I'll keep looking. Just some good comments about Trump and Israel. But yeah, I was listening to some of your analysis earlier about the debate, and I think most of your analysis I agree with. I think you're right on with pretty much everything you said. Like the abortion stuff. I mean, you kind of nailed it on the abortion stuff, and also about what Trump said about Putin. Like, oh, Putin's going to end the war as soon as he gets elected. I mean, sure, that'd be nice if that happened. I just don't think it's realistic.
No, it's not realistic, right? The only way the Trump can end the war with Putin is if he agrees to Putin's demands. And if he agrees to Putin's demands, he's going to be crucified in the U.S. media. So there's no way he's going to do that.
Right? They've criminalized. At some point, they've criminalized diplomacy with Russia. So any diplomacy is going to be viewed as treason.
Well,
At least
you only Ukraine officially did that, not the U.S. The U.S. just ignores Russia because the United States diplomats are like an 8-year-old child, and they refuse to engage with Russia, except last week. Last week, the U.S. finally engaged with Russia. The Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin had to get on the phone with his equivalent in Russia, like the Defense Secretary of Russia. Basically forced Austin to get on the phone And Austin got his ass handed to him on that phone call, basically saying, if you fuckers kill another Russian child, there's going to be serious retaliation. I wouldn't be surprised. So people already asking me, Russia has already, by the way, this is not going to be in the mainstream media. Russia has already stated publicly, globally, that they will retaliate against the United States for the attack on the Crimean beach, okay? Whether it was an accident, whether it was on purpose, it doesn't matter. Russian civilians, including children, got killed because of American munitions operated by Americans. And Russia knows, and this is factual. So Russia has already stated publicly that they will retaliate against the United States. And that's the reason why Lloyd Austin, like a trained puppy, had to get on the phone with a Russian official because the US is actually fucking scared what Russia might do in their retaliation. Okay? So I don't believe that Russia is going to attack American civilians this time. Next time, they might. I mean, US is pushing Russia into a corner where they're about to not give a fuck. And again, maybe that's what the Democrats want to prevent Trump from winning. So what I think Russia's next step is they're going to start shooting down American Predator drones in the Black Sea. So I think starting next month, Russia will start shooting down these billion-dollar drones, and the US ain't going to be too happy about it, but at least no Americans are going to get killed.
Let me ask you this, Tone, because I agree with you that the Russian government isn't going to target American civilians. However, so far this hasn't really been a problem, but can you imagine a scenario maybe 10, 20 years down the line where there's some pissed off, Russian citizens who are just angry at America because they screwed Russia so badly during the Ukraine war that they'll take it upon themselves to do some sort of a terrorist attack in America? That's what worries me. Not so much that Putin's going to order a missile strike at civilians, but some crazy Russian, radicals can come to the U.S. and do some sort of and blow something up, just do some horrible things. That's what I'm more worried about as a civilian.
Let me tell you why I'm not worried about that. And then I'm gonna come back to the second thing. Actually, let me mention the second thing that Russia is likely to do in retaliation is they will attack US bases outside of America. So most likely starting in Syria. So either Russia will directly attack those bases, but unlikely. But Russia will give the green light and the weapons and the targeting assistance in order for Russian-backed armed forces in the Middle East to start destroying American bases, including American soldiers in the Middle East. They're going to start there. Okay, so those are my views on Russian retaliation for some Russian citizens getting killed. Here's why your concern is not necessarily my concern. So Russians on average are pretty highly educated. Like even if you go to like villages in the middle of nowhere in Russia, you can have an intelligent conversation. You will need to speak Russian, but these people are pretty damn well informed on politics and global politics. And the reason they're actually well informed on global politics is because so many Russians grew up in the communist Soviet Union that they always listen to both sides. Okay, it's the Americans that are brainwashed by the American media. The average Russian doesn't get brainwashed by the Russian media because the average Russian uses a VPN service. And the average Russian is very well aware of what's happening around the world. And the average Russian understands that this isn't the American people that really want a war with Russia. It's these American politicians. So I am not that concerned. However, an American, nudged false flag from one of the three-letter agencies, CIA, FBI, whatever you like, right? One of these agencies putting some, Russian native up to it, sure, that can happen. But like a Russian leaving Russia and executing some kind of terrorist plot against American civilians, I find the probability of that extremely low, because Russians understand that it's not the American people that are doing this stupidity.
Got a question saying U.S. European bases are on high alert. Any opinion on that? I haven't heard anything about that, but I'm sure they are just because of the war in general.
Right. So again, I don't think Russia is gonna fire at U.S. Military bases in Europe unless it's one country in specifically, and that country is Romania. Any military base in Romania needs to be on high alert because these missiles go, and these planes that are flying through the Black Sea, a lot of it is being initiated from the NATO bases in Romania. And this is why Russia didn't want any NATO anywhere near their country, because now I think the Russians are actually very close to just blowing up one of these US military bases in Romania and then publicly stating, all right, NATO, are we proving that Article 5 is bullshit? And you're not gonna go to war with Russia over Romania? Or are we going to a full out NATO versus Russia war? So yeah, so the only bases that are in trouble are the Romanian bases for now. But I think Russia will prove that they have the ability to destroy an American military base. I think they will prove it in Syria before they prove it in Romania. So I think step one, start destroying billion-dollar drones over the Black Sea. Step two, take out a military base or two of American military base or two in Syria. And then step three, if the US still doesn't get the message, step three would be taking out a US military base or a NATO military base in Romania.
Well, either way, whatever happens, this great period that we had from 1991 until 2022, that period of the end of the Cold War is now over, and looks like no matter what happens, we're going to have some version of the Cold War going forward, which sucks because the Cold War was a disaster. It was bad for America, it was bad for Russia, and we're just going to go back to that and go back to all of that stupid time period again.
So it actually wasn't bad for America, unfortunately. So the Cold War was good for America. And in that, because Russia collapsed, America claimed that they won the Cold War and America was the world superpower unopposed for 30 years. And now America is being opposed by two countries and the world is turning away from the US, right? But the Cold War was great for America because it was Russia that couldn't sustain itself. And it was Russia that fell apart and broke apart, and the Soviet Union broke apart, not Russia. So the reason why the Cold War was great for America is because the Cold War led to sped up Russian collapse and the Soviet Union's collapse. Let me be correct here in my phrasing. And
well, yeah, sorry,
that collapse benefited America greatly. And however, because America fucked up in its, I'm gonna quote Spider-Man here, with great power comes great responsibility, and America wasted that power in a way, this is where we are today, where America's collapsing, and just like the Soviet Union broke up into 15 countries, so will the United States. Maybe not 15, maybe only 5 countries, maybe 40 countries, who the hell knows? But America will collapse in a similar way to the Soviet Union.
So it was good for America because there was no nuclear war. Had there been a nuclear war, it would have been very bad for America. And I don't know if we'll be as lucky second time around as we were the first time that we avoided nuclear war.
Yeah. Well, again, looking back at it, some of the smartest presidents America ever had were there during the Cold War. Eisenhower, Kennedy, Nixon, they were there. They were some of the smartest, most diplomatic American presidents ever. And now look, we have Biden, right? So it's not a miracle that we avoided nuclear war. We avoided nuclear war because the people in charge, uh, you know, didn't have their head up their ass. That's not true today. Like, I don't think it was luck. Like, it's not luck that we didn't have nuclear war. It was, it was level-headedness and look, the CIA did their best to destroy it, right? Well, we're not going to get into the whole JFK thing and the Nixon thing, but I think the CIA took down both Kennedy and Nixon because they weren't going to play ball with, more military action. Neither one of them. And, but regardless, at least the presidents that we had and people running for president were, weren't vowing for the roles in the movie Idiocracy.
Well, I think a lot of the American presidents could have done better. I think Eisenhower was advised poorly that there was no way the Russians were going to get a nuclear weapon, and then they got a nuclear weapon right away. So they would have gotten a nuclear weapon, anyway. And what should have been done is some sort of a disarmament treaty should have been, put forward. And instead, the U.S. thought, oh, we'll just get a whole bunch of bombs, and a whole bunch of bombs doesn't really help you. All you need is a certain number, and having like 20 or 100 times that number doesn't actually make you any safer. It's just a waste of money, and that's why I think the Cold War was a disaster, is because all this money was wasted on building up these nuclear arsenals when the assumption at the beginning of the Cold War was that the Russians weren't going to get a nuke, and instead, if the assumption was, well, they're going to get a nuke in a few years anyway, let's work with them, let's not make them our enemy. Let's make them our friends. It would have been a much better outcome than them saying, "Oh, well, we're just going to build up a big stockpile of nuclear weapons." And yes, now we have peace because we both have nuclear weapons, and hopefully, no one accidentally pushes the button.
All right. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, I'm looking through the chat.
Oh yeah, the sun. Wow, I'm up here in the far north, and it's like the longest day of the year. The sun doesn't set till like 9 p.m. It's crazy.
Do you have anything to say about Cuba? I mean, Cuba. One of the few good things that Obama did was he tried to normalize relations with Cuba. But as soon as Trump got in to appease his Cuban voters in Florida, he immediately put an end to that. So one of the few good things Obama did, Trump ended as soon as he got in. I think that the Cuban policy is a disaster. It's all based on honoring JFK, and that's why we haven't changed this policy. This is why Cuba is still, a horror show. And had we normalized relations with Cuba, I think Cuba would be, or more like Vietnam, would be kind of like a semi-friend to us instead of being an enemy all these years for no reason.
So here's what I know about Cuba. So Obama went out of his way. Obama made Cuba not a priority, but Cuba was on Obama's, things to deal with list. And Obama started normalizing relations with Cuba. When Trump came in after Obama, he did not prioritize Cuba at all. This is my understanding of it. From what I've heard some interviews from people on the that were in the administration. Trump basically said Cuba is not something I got time to deal with. So Trump handed Cuba off to, I don't know, whoever, is to someone else in his administration. And Trump basically did not have Cuba at all that he gave a shit about. And at that point, when he said, deal with Cuba, the people that Cuba was handed to, it was basically their problem. And if these people were pro good relations with Cuba, Cuba would have been in a much better position today. Unfortunately, the people that Cuba was handed to were anti-Cuba. And therefore, and so it's kind of Trump's fault, but it's not exactly Trump's fault. It just so happens that Cuba was handed to people that reversed normalizing relations with Cuba. Cuba went backwards, and it's no surprise that Cuba is now more than happy to welcome the Russians because Russia has normalized relations with Cuba. So Trump dropped the ball on Cuba, but it's not that he had bad intentions. It's just that Trump had decided to prioritize other stuff, and Cuba was dealt with by anti-Cuba people.
Have you had a chance to talk about Putin's North Korea visit on your channel yet?
I did not. That's very, very interesting, man. So, Russia, so I wish that people in America would get to actually listen to why Russia does what it does. So, Putin has made it very, very clear that if America continues to provide weapons to Ukraine, and preventing a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine and preventing Russia to end the conflict in Ukraine, Russia will arm America's enemies. Putin literally spelled this out, saying that if you are going to be arming our enemies, and by the way, Russia is blaming the terrorist attacks down in Dagestan on America as well, on America and Ukraine, right? So Russia has stated very clearly, we are tired of, the shadow government of the U.S., whatever it is, right? Russia is tired of America constantly funding Russia's enemies. So Russia said, we're now going to start arming your enemies. And North Korea, Cuba is one, North Korea is another. Russia doesn't care. They're not playing fucking games. And people don't understand that. So China is probably not thrilled. And a lot of people think that Putin ran this by China. A lot of people think that North Korea is China's proxy. I've heard both sides of this debate. Putin may not care what Xi Jinping thinks on this. Russia ended its diplomacy with North Korea, even though Russia shares a border with North Korea. The reason why Russia, didn't really arm Iran and they didn't really arm North Korea in the past is because Putin kept trying to work with Germany. He kept trying to work with the West. He kept trying to work with the US. But instead, the US kept, jerking Russia around. So now Putin is arming the Iranians. He's arming the Cubans. He's going to arm the North Koreans. He reinstated full diplomatic relations with North Korea. They're going to assist North Korea with energy. They're going to assist North Korea with food. And North Korea has 1 million military personnel that will come and fight for Russia if Russia needs them. North Korea can also manufacture missiles. And Putin is arming North Korea with an interballistic missile that can hit Los Angeles. Okay? Yeah, this already happened.
Jesus.
Yes. Yeah, Doug is not up to date on geopolitics either. We were driving up here from Wisconsin. I made him listen to some proper podcasts. So why is this happening, right? So a lot of people now believe that this is to North Korea's benefit, right? And this is almost like the Article 5 of NATO. So if America goes to war with North Korea, it obligates Russia to now go to war with the United States. Not exactly. I don't think Russia is going to trade Moscow for New York over North Korea, okay? Just like America is not going to trade New York for Moscow over Latvia or Poland or Romania. All right. So what is this really? This is Putin basically telling, and American citizens don't know this is happening. This is Putin telling the American senior staff that if you go to war with Russia and you bomb a major Russian city, our proxy, North Korea, will be more than happy to nuke the west coast of the United States. Because Russia can reach the east coast, but it's hard for Russia to attack the west coast. Either China has to attack the west coast of the United States, or North Korea can do it. Now, everyone makes fun of North Korea about how their guidance system is bad. Yes, North Korea has the missiles. Yes, North Korea now has nuclear technology, but they can't fire an accurate missile. But guess who can fire an accurate missile? Russia. So Russia will have their engineers in North Korea, and they will help them target the missile anywhere it needs to go. So in my view, this is just, it's like Putin putting his, money where his mouth was. When Putin said, stop this bullshit, or I will arm your enemies, and he's following through on his promise. The one thing Putin is not is a liar. And if he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it, and he just did it. So he armed the North Koreans with training and missile aiming technology. Plus, he gave them technology for Russia's second fastest set of missiles. So at the moment, as you guys can laugh, Americans can laugh all they like. North Korea has a faster missile than the United States. This is factual. Russia has already provided North Korea with a hypersonic missile. It's not as fast as Russia's fastest missiles, and it's not as fast as Chinese fastest missiles. But North Korea has a missile that is faster than anything the United States can fire from continental United States. And this missile can now be nuclear armed. The one thing North Korea lacks is a guidance system, which Russia is now supplying. And that is just a backup for Russia in case Russia needs someone to fire something into the west coast of the U.S.
Wow, that's I'm ashamed to say that I didn't even consider the fact that by Putin having good relations with North Korea was about arming North Korea, because the looks like the U.S. media has been pretty good at keeping that quiet. But yeah, it completely makes sense. And maybe I'm someone who I'm not a fan of Kim Jong-un, but I feel bad for the people of North Korea that have to suffer under his regime. So maybe on some level, if North Korea can establish good diplomatic relations with Russia, maybe that will help their economy a little bit and actually help the people living under that regime kind of not be as poor and be as miserable as they are. But I don't know if that's just wishful thinking on my part.
It's how can I phrase this? North Koreans living under that regime is a partial byproduct of the West's, of the West not willing to work with North Korea. Okay? They feed on each other. Okay? It's very possible that if Russia fully comes and helps North Korea and provides them with food and provides them with infrastructure, that things will turn around, right? Like, look at Vietnam, okay? Communism won in Vietnam also. The United States lost in Vietnam. And look at Vietnam today. And by the way, after Putin went to North Korea, he went to Vietnam. he's reestablishing the old friendships that Russia used to have. Any country that still has some bad feelings towards the US, Putin will help them. He will give them food, he will give them weapons to defend themselves, and they will provide and they will build the infrastructure. Okay? Russia, being friends with China, if China is like the only country that can actually build, high-speed rails right now and other high-end infrastructure. And Russia is going to benefit from this greatly. And then Russia is going to go out and most countries are welcoming Russia for these reasons. They can protect them, they can provide them with weapons, they could go into a defense treaty with Russia where Russia could protect them, and Russia will have the ability to help them build infrastructure. Okay? At the very least, Russian nuclear scientists are as good as anything out there in the world, possibly even the best. Okay? So at the least, Russia can help any country be energy independent at a minimum. Okay? Plus, working together with China, it gives them other awesome infrastructure. So the Vietnam visit was also equally as important because now the US will not have Vietnam and its influence over Vietnam. It's a big fight for Southeast Asia. The United States has full control of the Philippines. The United States has partial control of Thailand. And the United States continues to fuck over Myanmar because they're right next to China. But Russia is going to help bring all of Southeast Asia back into the, into the eastern sphere of influence versus the western sphere of influence.
All right, I don't have any more big questions to ask you, but if you want to end the stream, you can end the stream. But if not, I can ask you some more geopolitics stuff that I'm interested in.
Let's do another question or two.
Okay, this is my question because we briefly touched on Taiwan last time I was on the stream with you. What is your take on Taiwan? Because I'm of the opinion that Taiwan is very important strategically to China. And this is why China will never let Taiwan be independent because during World War II, the Japanese had Taiwan, and Taiwan was basically the unsinkable aircraft carrier that they could launch attacks from. And because of that, China will never allow Taiwan to independent or to fall into enemy hands. So, but you said you had a different take on it. So I wanted to hear what your take was on Taiwan, if you want to talk about it.
Right. So during those days, there was a need for this unsinkable aircraft carrier. In fact, during those days, these aircraft were almost unsinkable to begin with, at least in the very early stages of World War II. See, today, it's not a geographical thing. China doesn't need Taiwan for its geography. Now, if China has Taiwan, then the body of water between Taiwan and China is fully controlled by China. So if China doesn't have Taiwan, then US warships can continue to travel between Taiwan and China, but China can very easily sink them. Okay? So this statement of Taiwan is an unsinkable aircraft carrier might have been true in the beginning of World War II. Today, China can wipe out all of Taiwan with one missile. So they don't need it for their geography. Okay? However, China basically has been seen upon the world as weak. China was very weak throughout the 18th century, 19th century, and China is now in a position where China believes that it's only a matter of time before they are the world superpower. And as the world superpower, the most important thing, just like I say, why is the US dollar the most dominant currency in the world? It's perception. It's confidence. The number one reason why China wants Taiwan is to show the world that it's theirs. It's not even geographically strategic, like Crimea and Ukraine. These things are way more geographically strategic, okay, than Taiwan. And yes, if the U.S. puts a bunch of missiles in Taiwan pointed at mainland China, that would bother China. But remember, China can wipe out the entire island of Taiwan in 20 minutes, right? They don't want to. The reason they don't want to is because Taiwan is Chinese. It's Chinese people. China honestly believes, in my opinion, that China sees Taiwan and China as we're all the same. We should not be fighting each other. It's we should join together and dominate the world one day because we're all Chinese. And China is no longer a communist country. And the government of Taiwan, the government that's been in exile for 60 years, that government is on significantly better terms with mainland China today than the last 3 elected prime ministers or whatever it is in Taiwan. Because remember, Taiwan is China. It's in the United States. If you Google, like Taiwan is, I don't have some Taiwanese friends, but according even to the United States, Taiwan is not a country. I don't understand how this is debatable, right? Like if you go to U.S. State Department, Taiwan, Taiwan policy, okay? U.S. relations with Taiwan. The United States' approach to Taiwan has remained consistent across decades and administrations. The United States has a long-standing one China policy, which is guided, whoa, what happened there? Okay. Which is guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 U.S.-China joint communiques, and 6 assurances. We oppose any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side. We do not support Taiwan independence, and we expect cross-strait differences. Literally, this is the United States government is opposed to any Taiwan independence. This is the official U.S. government position on Taiwan. It's one China. That's it. That's the official position of the United States government. This is the insanity of it all, okay? The United States is trying to convince the world that China is a country, yet on their own website, in the government document, it states that we do not support Taiwan independence. This is why the world hates the United States. And China is really pissed off because on the one hand, the United States is saying it's one China, and on the other hand, the United States keeps backing Chinese, the parties in Taiwan. So let's go to Taiwan election. The most recent Taiwan election, we'll even go to Wikipedia, okay? If you look at the guy who won, Lai Ching-te, okay, the DPP, he won. This is the KMT. This is the party that split from China 70 years ago, okay? This is the party that is now having good relations with mainland China. This is a new party. D stands for Democrat. Anytime you see Democrat, assume communism, okay? This is the more communist party, okay? The one that just got elected. This is the party directly backed by the United States and its, what do you call it? NGOs, like the George Soros and company, okay? Let's look at Lai Ching-te, okay? Where is he? Oh, I'll just click on him right here. Lai Ching-te, also known as William. Why would someone in China that's about to be, in charge of a province be also known as William. This alone is a red fucking flag, okay? He's known as William because he was American educated. If you look at his education, Harvard University, okay? If you look at the prior, the prior leader of Taiwan, also from the Democratic Progressive Party, if you Google their party, you know, they're all about gender equality and, you know, there was 18,000 genders and all of this woke bullshit. This is the U.S. woke Democratic Party taking charge of Taiwan. They've been in charge of Taiwan now for 12 years, okay? So the prior president that was the president, I forgot her name already. Lai is the new one. Who was her? She was the prior president. Let's look at her educational background. She went to college at Cornell University and the London School of Economics. Okay? This is why China is pissed. Okay? The United States has fully infiltrated Taiwan, and the United States is in control of the Democratic Progressive Party that's now won 3 elections in Taiwan. All their leaders are US educated and US indoctrinated in order to turn Taiwan into the next Ukraine. Taiwan would have been peacefully integrated with China if it wasn't for these last 12 years and these 3 you know, whatever they are. They're not presidents, right? Because Taiwan's not a country. So I have no idea what their like actual like title is. Like which position, right? Is a Taiwanese politician who serves 7th president of the Republic of Taiwan. Okay, so it is a president of Taiwan. So, right. So the last 3 presidents of Taiwan have all been US proxies. They've all been like US Manchurian candidates in order to create tension between Taiwan and mainland China. Like again, this is another nightmare created by the United States. And China is watching, mainland China is watching what the United States has done with Ukraine, and they're watching the same exact thing happening in Taiwan.
And not to Taiwan's benefit in any way.
Well, no, not at all, because again, Taiwan, I mean, if there was an armed conflict, I mean, Taiwan has no shot against mainland China. Like, what are they going to do? Fight the Chinese? And again, it's the same people. It's the same people. So China, mainland China, had spent like 20, 30 years, you know, convincing Taiwan that we should all be united as one. We're all Chinese. And now here come the Americans putting in their, you know, American educated, indoctrinated presidents to turn Taiwan into its own country and, you know, controlled by the United States.
Some of the chat is saying Bitcoin is pumping. I'm trying to check it out, see if it's true or not.
All right, let's go. It is. But where do we close the weekly candle? We just missed. Look, we just missed. I really wanted to get rid of the red star candle. I really wanted us to pump before the candle closed. If we were at this price an hour ago, we would have gotten rid of the red star. Ah, that sucks. Anyway, does this answer some of your questions on Taiwan?
Yes, it does. But what you said, one of the things that you said, which is that the United States acknowledges the one China policy. So it doesn't matter. The U.S. can still screw you, even though they are saying one thing. As soon as if and when there's a conflict with Taiwan between China, immediately the very first thing people are going to be screaming is that Taiwan is independent. Taiwan is independent, like they've always been independent, and China is being unreasonable. That's immediately what they're going to say, and of course MSNBC and CNN are going to parrot that, and even Fox News will, because I guess for some reason conservatives don't like China. So
Right,
even
right.
though
Again, it's the same playbook. Like just like the moment Russia invaded Ukraine, they said it was an unprovoked attack on Ukraine. No, it was provoked for 2 decades.
yeah, and before the Russian invasion, they were talking about Russian separatists in Ukraine. And then as soon as the invasion happened, those Russian separatists became Ukrainians. They were no longer referred to as Russian
Right.
separatists. Now they're
Right.
Ukrainians.
Right. Right. Oh man, the sun setting is really nice. Look at that. Glancing right off the water. Oh, all right. Hey guys, I gotta get going. We're gonna say goodbye to Doug's family here. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. There's Doug. I will give you one more look at the gorgeous view behind me, and I will see you all tomorrow morning on the Financial Summit channel, where we're not going to talk politics and we're only going to talk about the price of Bitcoin, which is pumping 63.2 right now, Doug. 63.2. Yes. Yes. Great. I know. Wow. All right. Awesome. Bye, guys.